Greetings, I got another Dark Visions video. Today we're going to be doing the Dark Elafikeras. I'm going to be using a Transcendent team. Fina is the leader. We have Roka here for the Earth Imperil Field, Vivi for Transcendent Stat Overdrive, Dark Fina does some damage and has a Whip Imperil. Daisy has really good overdrives for Flowers and Transcendent units, so we're going to be using both of those. And then Lightning's just here to do some damage because we need a 6 slot. And let's jump right in. Alright, turn 1, Daisy's going to be our tank. She's going to be tanking physical and cover. We're going to use her physical cooldown, which gives some mitigations. And that's the element cover. Also unlocks her quad cast, which is very important for this. She only starts off with triple cast, which is one of her worst qualities. And then we're going to use her Fist Imperil because that lasts for 4 turns. Vivi is going to unlock his bigger focus abilities. He does go up to 600%, but his LB cooldown is only 300%, so we have to unlock those first. Fina is just going to give us a status immunity this turn, so we don't get slept. Roka is going to use her defensive ability grant on Lightning. Lightning is going to use those abilities. And then Dark Fina is just going to use her Whip Imperil. And that turn the boss does a MP drain, so we're going to fix that first with Fina. Fina is going to triple cast her MP buff, her Bow Imperil, and her 800 stat buff. Roka is going to quadcast Enstonga, put up her Imperil Field, which I think is this one, right? Yep. Use her Defense Spirit Break, and use her ability Dispel. Daisy is going to quadcast. Now that we have that unlocked, she's going to use her Stone Mitigation because the physical attacks this turn are not coverable. She's going to use her big attack break. That's kind of optional if you need to use her for something else here. And then we're going to use her, I have all this written down, her stat buff on Fina and her killer ability. And then Fina, Lightning, and Vivi are just going to guard. Alright, turn 3. Daisy's going to quadcast her Omni Cover, her LB buff, her LB mod buff, and her Earth amp. Fina's going to, she's just going to triple cast her LB buff. She's going to give an Earth amp to Vivi and herself, and an LB mod buff and focus. Vivi's going to quadcast LB buff, focus, and mod buff. Roka will quadcast LB buff, Earth Imperil, Earth Amp on Lightning, and focus. Dark Fina is going to throw up her Earth Amp Field, LB buff, Amp, focus, and then Lightning is just gonna LB buff and then mod buff. And turn 4, this is our burst turn, so we're going to use Dark Fina's Guardian LB Overdrive, mostly for Vivi. We're going to use Fina's self-stat buff. We're going to use Daisy's Flowers LB buff. We're going to use Vivi's Transcendent stat buff. And then we're going to use Daisy's Transcendent Field and Damage Amp. Everyone's going to use Earth LBs. And the way this training is going to go is I'm going to send out Vivi. He is a capper, about 3 seconds before everyone else. Then we're going to chain Roka and Daisy. I'll go over why and the gearing. We're going to just send Lightning in a little bit after that, about a second after Roka and Daisy, and then we're going to finish the chain with Fina and Dark Fina. And let's see what we get. Max I've gotten for this team is 92.8. The theoretical max is 103 billion, and the average is 83.5 billion. So let's see what happens. Looked like a pretty good roll. I'm interested. 81. Nope, I was very wrong. That's not very good. That is below average. Let's see what happened. Yeah, so I saw the Daisy numbers. Daisy's max is 19.7, minimum 11.5. So she got a pretty good roll. Fina's max is 21.8, so she is doing okay. Roka's pretty bad. Her max is 16, and her minimum is 9.8, so she is below average. Vivi's below average, 9 to 14.7. Dark Fina, decent roll. She is 10 to 16.4. So like dead center average, and then Lightning is below average. She goes 9.3 to 15. So nothing special. As far as gearing goes and party goes, we have Fina on Garda. The new 3-star Garda does have chain speed, but it just doesn't work out where that comes into play. Besides that, it is the magic version of Ashura, so it has 429 magic if you have full Esper stats. We have Bismarck on Roka just to make the gearing a little easier on her so she can use some chain speed. Rama, Kokoryu, Bahamut, I'll give Stone Killer. And then Lightning is just on Ashura, just because she doesn't really need the killer. She has 200% Omni Killer in her kit. We're using the party Stone Killer ability for another 50. Golem doesn't really give enough attack that it would be worth using it over Ashura there. Anyways, gearing. Yep, so we're going to be using a lot of Roka's SDMR here. Obviously it has 121 magic. It also has 75% Stone Killer, so kind of plugs a lot of holes for all these mages. Blue Mage Fina's hat also gives 50% Stone Killer, so she is like way overcapped here. It's fine. We're using Water Rain's Vision card on her. We have the 100% Final Fantasy IV Laswell 100% LB damage ability to make up for that. She still fits in Esper stats, True Double Hand, and Chain Cap without any issues whatsoever. Gear's super easy here. We're using Revenge of the Lost Nation Fina bows on pretty much everyone here except for Roka and the physical attackers, just because that is the highest magic bow outside of the Dark Vision's bow. Roka is using the 8th anniversary Fina bow. This one has only 232 magic, but it does give 50% LB damage. We do need that because we are using Dark Roka's vision card on Roka. We have this Chronicle accessory instead of a second one of her STMR just because we want that 30% magic. Doing that lets us use this build where we can use a Luna Freya STMR with 100% True Double Hand and 70% magic instead of a Season 5 Rain STMR. And that lets us go from Season 5 Fina's bow to the 8th anniversary bow, which is like a lot of work for, like, I think it was like a 10 magic gain in the end, but it is optimal. Obviously, equip bow, Stone Killer. She does need another 50% LB damage, so we're getting that from Mellow's TMR. And then we have Medine Synergy for the chain speed on her. Vivi, again using the 9th anniversary Fina bow. He does not have any Stone Killer in his kit, but using the double Roka STMR and the Blue Mage Fina hat, that brings him up to 200. We have the party ability for 250, and then he is on Rama for the last 50%, so he is capped out without actually having to use any gear worse than this. If he did have in it Stone Killer, you actually wouldn't use the Roka STMRs on him, just because he is a Final Fantasy IX unit. He does have access to Kuja's TMR and Determined Dagger's STMR, which are very high attack and they're very high magic accessories for Final Fantasy IX mages only. We do have to use his TMR because we are not using his STMR rod. That hurts his build a lot, but he still makes it out okay. You might have noticed he only has 595% magic. That is like 54%, 52%, I'm sorry, 52 magic. So it's a very, very low number that we're actually missing by that 5%. Most builds I've been looking at, going below 600 magic is actually a very minor thing compared to something like using a bow for variants or killers or anything like that. Just real quick, he is using Jack's vision card. Dark Fina gears pretty badly here. She is using the 9th anniversary bow again. She does have to use her TMR, which is a huge hit. She would really like to use the Blue Mage Fina hat, but that's just not on the cards here. Her STMR is useless here. Other than that, same build as Vivi, except she is using a Roka TMR instead of Vivi's TMR, which gives the same magic. The only reason she is magic capped is because she is on Kokoryu. That gives 75% Stone Killer. It also gives 30% attack and magic with bows, so that gives her that last 5% she needs. She is using the Dark Roka vision card. She can use... I've been trying to make the Sophie vision card work on her. I can't figure it out. Not with bows. There's no real good option here, just because she has no init killers. Daisy, Curl Whip, Riku STMR. Because she has this, the Kaiser Knuckle that gives her 200% chain speed, she has 100% chain speed in her kit, and I have another 200% chain speed on her. She is losing almost nothing by going second in the chain. The actual modifier, like the weighted modifier for her chain, comes out to 7.96. She's also a bolting strike unit, 27 hits, which means she has less of an impact from going into a chain than a Absolute Mirror of Equity, a 24 hit unit, just because of the weights. The first 10 hits, the first 10 hits or so of Bolting Strike are all 2%, whereas Absolute Mirror starts right at 3%. But anyways, yep. She obviously gets the Whip Imperil from Dark Fina. The Fist Imperil comes from herself. She gears super easy here, and she is on Yuna's vision card. And then lightning. Furion's bow gives the true double hand. The reason we're using that over Trey's is so that we can skip the true double hand materia, and that way we can squeeze in the Esper stats because she is on Ashura. That is a lot of stats. Nothing fancy here. Rebellion vision card because she can't use any of the 1000 vision cards. Yep, that's the team, that's the build. The only reason we're using Roka for the chaining is because Dark Fina and, well, Season 3 Fina does the most damage on the team, so you wouldn't want to use her. But Dark Fina and Roka do pretty much the same damage. The difference is that Roka gears very, very easily here. So using Roka lets us put in a little bit more chain speed, just to minimize that hit. Anyways, Dark Vision's Abyss should be next week. Looking forward to it. See ya.